Good morning and welcome to the first tutorial and introduction to applications that are used for digital art and other digital products that I like to do. Okay, so today we are starting with Photoshop. Okay, let me just open my window right here. I use Photoshop 2021. I like this version because it's more updated. It's a bit bigger, but it's more updated. I would think that the best version of Photoshop to have is a more updated version. So this is the interface that you'll get introduced to. As you can see, I've got my recent projects right here, but I'm going to go to this corner and create new. Usually I like the A4 default setting, and I am going to go to create. You can change a whole lot of other variables here. Color mode, I like to keep it at RGB. Sometimes I go to CMYK for other projects that I'll have to print out, but I like this better. And I can change the background. I can change it either to a background color, to black, to transparent, custom. I can change my millimeters. I can change the width, I can change the height or the resolution. I like to change the resolution when I'm working on something that needs more high definition. Okay, so I'm just going to go with this default setting here. Before we go there, you can see on top here, you can choose settings. There's a photo setting, there is print, there's also art and illustration, web, mobile, and film and videography. But I'm just going to go to my recent. I like A4. Okay, so let's create. So as you can see, usually it just default goes to the brush setting because I use the brush a lot. But this is where we have our toolbox here. This tool allows you to move things. That's if you have something here. This tool here is a select tool. If you right click here, you get this is the rectangle marquee tool, and all the different select tools here. There are more select tools here. You can get the lasso tools right here, the magic wand tool, quick select, and object selection tool. We've got the crop. We have the framing tool that picks up. As you can see, the nice thing about these applications is that they have an animated how-to or item where they show you what the certain tools do. So as you can see, all these applications, all these tools, quite basic. Okay, so the main purpose I use Photoshop for is for drawing. So let us go to the brush. Okay, we have a selection of brushes that we can choose from, and you can also download brushes on the internet and load them onto your Photoshop. So here I've got, also just to say, I am using a Wacom tablet, a Wacom graphics tablet, which enables me to get really fine lines, really nice fine version of lines. that's me with the pen right now, and then this is me with the touchpad or the mouse. Which doesn't mean that if you don't have a graphics tablet, you can't draw. We've got tools here that help out with the drawing section. If you look up here, we've got the smoothing tool. The smoothing tool just makes sure that you can draw as smoothly as you can. So that's my line without the smoothing tool, and this is my line without. Okay, so we've got our different brushes here. Usually when I do a lot of sketching, I come here and I use my pencils. Oh, I'm on the rubber side. I come here and I use my pencils. If you zoom in, you can see that it does have a real good pencil effect. It has more of that pencil effect when I have my pen instead of the mouse. Okay. So that's from the dry medium box. You've got also a charcoal. You've got a charcoal setting here. You've got the eraser, the charcoal pencil. Moving on, we've got the wet brushes. There's the inking brush, really good for line work. Then there's the blending brush. You can see we've got our colors here. We can easily just come in and blend. This is for a more painterly look. We've got what's called the real oils. So these brushes, what they kind of do is they imitate. They like to imitate a lot of the real brushes that we use if you're doing fine art or any other art. So this would be what an oil, this is their simulation of what drawing, painting with oil paint would feel like. And then we go on to our special effects brushes. All these brushes have been put in here. All these brushes are in here by default. You can add and remove brushes as you see fit. So as you can see, we've got these good array of brushes. Got a good array of brushes that you can do a lot with. Okay, so moving on. Okay, let's get this clear. Moving on, we're going to do what is called a digital portrait. So this is the picture that I'm going to use for my digital portrait. It's a picture that I have taken off of the internet. So as you can see, I've just dragged my picture out of the folder and just placed it here. And it comes here where we have what are called layers. As you can see right here, layers. And it makes its own layer right here. And you see this little corner here that makes it a smart object. That means you cannot draw on top of it. You see, this is a smart object that must be rasterized before proceeding. So if you press OK, it will be rasterized and you can draw on top. But what I like to do with these images is I don't like to rasterize the image. I can just go and Control Z and undo it. So the first thing I'm going to do with this is I'm going to go to the brush setting and I'm going to change my brush, and I want to get this Kyle Ultimate Inking Thick Brush. I'm going to go and go on the black color. I'm going to come back to my image, my reference image, and I want to reduce the opacity to 80%. Okay, so just reduce the opacity to 80% and go back to my first layer. When I get to my first layer, I'm going to rename this layer. Let's go down, let's look for the rename. I'm going to rename my layer to line art. So this just means that all my line art is going to be on this layer. So I'm going to zoom in and I'm going to pick on the first part and we're going to trace this as much as we can. So I'm going to go to my smoothing here. I'm going to place it at 100. And I'm just going to come in and draw an outline. Now, I'm not going to completely make this very accurate, but it's going to be as accurate as I can. I'm going to go around. I'm going to trace this. Okay, I'm going to trace this as best as we can. I'm not going to do all the little lines. And the reason why I'm not going to do all these lines is because I don't exactly like, it's to my preference, but I don't like to have images that are exactly a trace. So what I like to do is I like to come in and draw little lines that give me demarcations. Okay, so get some of the hair, for the eyebrows. I want to show you how I do these eyebrows really quickly. I just freehand the lines really quickly and then I change the size. Okay, so that's changing the size. Changing the size. And as you can see, I'm really going wild on this, right? So what I'm going to do here is, I think this is thick enough. I'm going to take the eraser and I'm going to clean up my lines right here. I'm going to clean up my lines, nice and easy. Clean up my lines. There, I've got a nice eyebrow. So I'm going to go to the next side here. I'm going to do exactly that. I'm going to start with my eyebrows here. I'm going to go wild because I know that I'm going to come back. I know that I'm going to come back with a smaller brush and make it believable that I have eyebrows here. And come back with the eraser and clean up the eyebrows. From here, I'm just going to come in with a bigger brush and do the same thing with the eyes. Okay, so changing the width of the lines brings good variety. So what I'm going to do here is, because I'm now outlining the face, I'm going to use a nice thick brush to create a border that differentiates the line from the face to the lines inside the face. I'm also going to do that for the shoulders, the edges of the top, and the earrings. So varying thickness of lines makes the artwork really interesting. I'm also going to do the same thing with the hair. I'm not going to go into the details of the small hairs up here. I'm just going to assume the hair does the swirly thing. Maybe a couple pieces, but I want to make this all a solid line. I'm going to make this all a solid line. Okay. Okay. So I'm going to fill in the details that I can now. Now once you zoom out, you can take a look at what you've done, and even see this little eye here. This shows that it's visible or not visible. So you can click on the visibility of the layer in order for you to see clearly. Yes, come show me. Mm. Good. We'll talk at 2. When you come in at 2, then we'll have a little bit of a discussion. Today I have what? Today's a Monday. Yes, I don't have any clubs. So that's great. So you can come in and we'll talk about your topic. I want to because we might have a problem with it. We might kind of restructure it. Okay. I hope that's not too disappointing for you. Because we might hit some snags in the way and we want you to pass, so. Yes, you may. What time is it? Okay, guys, get ready. The bell's about to ring for lunch. If you're not doing anything at 2, you can come in. As long as you're not banking anything, please do not bank anything. Okay. I cannot afford. Put it inside. So boys, please pass through, please may I have my flash stick actually, and then you pass through after your afternoon lessons, and then I can give you the application. Hopefully it's done. No, it's, what's it called? It's glue. And then you spray it with the spray pine. Thank you. Thank you. Now, if you've seen outside my classroom before lunch, I get in trouble, so kind of saving my bum. Just a minute left. Ah, my eyes. Okay, so here now that I've finished my line art, I am going to come up with the color scheme. So my color scheme is going to come from my basic image that I've taken, and I'm going to go onto the eyedropper here. And I'm going to click on an area that I feel like her complexion is well represented. Go back to my brush and to my layer on top that I've created a new layer here. And I am going to just paint on the swatch here. This is my skin layer swatch. And I'm going to do that again for the hair. That's my hair swatch. Again for the makeup. And for the lips. And for other parts that I feel like I need the exact color. So this is my color scheme that I've got here, and I'm going to grab this layer and put it on top of everything here. So this is my color scheme, and I'm going to rename it to color scheme. Okay. So I'm going to be clicking on and off my color scheme so that it doesn't distract me from my picture. But this is what I'm also going to do. I'm going to name my color scheme. I'm going to label my color scheme. So zooming in, I'm going to gonna label it. This is skin. Okay, boys, have a nice day. This is skin, hair, eyeshadow, mouth, eye, and top. So these are all my important color schemes that I like. And actually, I've missed one more. I want to pick the color at the back in the background right here. And that is going to be this color here. And I'm going to call it background. Okay. So the first thing I am going to do is I'm going to pick up, I've got my color for my background, and I am going to go here in this corner here. You see where it says create new fill or adjustment layer. I'm going to click on it and I'm going to say solid color. When I click solid color, you get this user interface here. And instead of clicking any color here, I'm going to go out of this, and as you can see, it automatically gives me an eye droplet. And I'm going to pick on my background color right here, and that's it. That's my background color. Okay, so now that I've got my base colors all in line and my background color, I'm going to fill in all the main base colors. That would be for the skin, the hair, the skin, the hair, the mouth, the eyes, and the top. I'm not going to put in the eyeshadow yet, just as yet. I'm going to change the color of the hair because I don't want it to be basic black. I'm going to bump it up a notch, but you'll see. So I'm going to start with the hair. As you can see, we've got this black color. But what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to make it a light to blackish brown. And then on a layer below my art, my line art, right here, see this is the line art, and then layer 2, I'm going to fill in the color for the hair. Right now I'm not being as careful as I should be, but I'm going to come back with an eraser and clean it up. I'm going to rename this layer to hair. I'm going to select another layer. That would be my skin layer, and I'm going to select the skin color. I'm going to put this layer, I'm going to rename it to skin and have it underneath the hair layer. Then I'm going to pick my skin color and I'm going to block it in. So here I'm going to get onto another layer, rename it to top, select the color for top, grab my brush, make it a little bit smaller, and fill in all the layers that need the red color. I'm going to come back and I'll clean it up. It's also the earring here. And then the next layer I'm going to put, I'm just going to name it, sorry, I'm going to name it accessories. And this is where I'm going to put in the mouth, the eyes, and other. So that is my base colors done, and I'm going to click off my color scheme, the visibility of my color scheme. I'm going to go layer by layer, cleaning up the colors by rubbing out what needs to be rubbed out. And so I'm going to spend some time doing that right now. So what would make it easier is clicking off the visibility of the other layers, so I can focus on the layer one by one, like each layer one by one. So now I'm moving on to the accessories or the mouth, and I'm going to clean that up. So I am going to add the whites of the eyes. And the trick here is I'm going to take the background color and lighten up that color for the eyes. So this is the background color. I'm not going to pick a white. Never pick a white. It won't be exactly what you need. So I'm going to pick an off-white color here. The eyes. Okay, so this is the image with all the base colors in, and as you can see, it already looks, it's already looking good because we've got all our base colors in, and our base colors, they sort of fit in together, they complement each other. We've got the warms with the reds and brown with a cool background, and that's something you should look into when you're looking at color theory and the basic composition of your image. Okay, so now the next process step, this next process would all obviously be shading in and making this portrait more realistic. So for that, we're starting with our skin. For our skin, we're going to put a new layer, and we're going to use what is called a clipping mask. We're going to clip this image, this layer to our skin layer, and we're going to go up here and have the effect at multiply. And then we're going to go here to opacity and drop the opacity to at least 50%. Okay, so 50%. Now with this clipping layer, what it's going to do, what the multiply image is going to do is it's going to help us make shadows. So obviously with all our images, we have a shadow and we have a highlight. So here we're going to pick on a nice shadow color, which I'm going to pick a nice purplish grayish and dull purple right here. This is the color I'm going to pick first. And I'm going to just look and see if this color, it's a good color. Oh no, I'm locking up and going right now. I have sports. So if you've noticed, I haven't put the eyeshadow yet. So let me just grab our eyeshadow color. This was our eyeshadow color right here. And I am going to use a different brush here, which is this soft round pressure brush. And I'm going to generally use this color right here. That's where the eyeshadow was. I'm going to be generous with this color. And then because of preference, I'm going to use the same color as a blush across the nose and everything. And there we go. So we're going to go back to our color that we had picked up here. We're going to use a different brush. We're going to use a round brush here for our shadows. I'm going to grab another layer right here. Click your mask, multiply, and we can have as many of these as we want. I'm going to go in and put in the shadows where they need to be. You can always come in and blend these shadows. So I'm just going to rush through this, and then just going to block in where I need these shadows, and we're going to come back in and we're going to blend it all out. So don't worry about how rough this looks. We're going to come back and we're going to blend it all out. Always remember to save your work.